I was making about 105,000 and then I was unemployed for 7 months. So I paid for a boot camp. That was $9,000. I took out the loan thinking to myself that, oh, I'll do the boot camp. I'm unemployed. I have all day to work on the boot camps. Right? It didn't work out that way. My name is Andrew. I'm 27 years old and I'm calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
What do you do for a living, Andrew?
I am a network specialist at a college.
And how much do you make a year doing that?
$60,000 a year.
And how long have you been doing that for?
4 months.
Okay, and what did you do prior to that?
I was a network engineer at a major telecommunications company.
And when you switched jobs, did you get a pay increase, paid increase? What did that look like?
It went down. So I was working like the job before here there. I was working there for 2 years. I got laid off because of budget cuts during 2023. Stock market went down. The company wasn't performing as well as they should have. So they had cut like a lot of people. So I was making about a little over 100,000, like 105,000, and then I was unemployed for 7 months, and then I took the job. This is the first job that I could get, so I could start paying bills and stuff. So I'm down to 60,000, but I'm hoping to get a better job soon to boost that back up.
Well, you weren't unemployed, now you're making less than you were before, but it's a job. How do you kind of rate your current financial situation on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'll say like a 3.
3. Okay. And why do you say that?
Well, I have a positive net worth, which is nice, but I don't like having the debt I have. There was a time a couple before I was working my other job, but I had no credit card debt. All I had was my student loans, and that was it. As you'll probably learn in the conversation, I made a very bad decision. I took out a personal loan, and I'm not have to pay that off, and I don't want to, but I have to. It's like I feel like I want to get back to the point where I have no debt, where I can invest more each month into my Roth IRA and just keep boosting my net worth in my 20s. That's when compound growth the best.
Okay, so let's take it back for a second. So you're unemployed for 7 months. Did you rack up a lot of debt during that time period?
No. So my previous company had a severance. So the way it worked was they just gave like a lump sum severance. I got laid off in December. I still got my bonus for that year. So I got my bonus, my severance, and unemployment. So I had a good cushion in terms of like emergency funds. And the place I was living was like very expensive. The rent was like almost 3,000 a month. Still, I was living with a roommate. But still, it was making it was expenses was one of the best.
At least you got the severance, the lump sum to hold you over. But yeah, sounds like, I guess, until you got a full-time job, you should have not been splurging as much and should have had some lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your assets and debts then. So for assets, we have current value of cars, $4,275. We have retirement accounts, $33,348. Non-retirement accounts, $1,091, and savings, $3,000. And on the debt side, we have personal loan for $9,467, student loans $9,749, credit cards $6,663, and then other debts, which are medical debts, $993. So that brings total assets $41,714, total debts $26,872, bringing your net worth to $14,841. What does that say to you right now, that net worth number?
It's been high in the past, so I want it to be high in the future.
Okay. So we've got some interesting situations then, because I want to dive into the debt you have right now. Let's go run down from this, because you said there's some bad financial decisions in here. So the personal loan, $9,467. What is that?
So I tried to do a boot camp because I thought to myself, I was working in network engineering, and then as I was in there, a lot of people were saying that, oh, cybersecurity makes so much money. Cybersecurity is such a good field; it makes so much money. So I paid for a boot camp. That was $9,000, and I took out the loan, thinking to myself that, oh, I'll get a job and I'll do the boot camp. I thought to myself, I can do this all day, every day, and then I'll get a job within like 3, 4 months, and then I'll pay back the loan because cybersecurity makes so much money. Right? It didn't work out that way.
$9,000 for a course you didn't even finish then?
I did not finish the course. Now I just
How far in did you make it?
like 40%.
Wow. Yeah, that's steep, and it's a 13% interest rate. So did you take out like a personal loan from like a bank, or is this like through like a firm?
Well, I got it from Mohila, so it's like I know Mohila usually does it for like private student loans. It's kind of like that.
When did you take this out? When did you do this?
So I took it out in May.
Okay. And was it 9,000 flat, or was it like $10,000? Because you're at $9,400 balance right now, it says.
So I haven't paid anything on it because it was in the permit for March. So it was like some weird type of bond deferment, but still getting interest over time. I think it started at close to 8,000, but then this interest has been like 8,500, and it started with interest.
So it's in deferment, you make payments, but then it's just accruing interest and you're just losing that way. That's okay. We need to start making payments on that then. Okay, and then student loans, $9,700. How much did you initially take out for student loans?
$10,000.
It's right around there. So I guess you've been out of school for 5 years.
I've been out of school for 3 years. I graduated in 2021.
Okay, 3 years. So you haven't made much progress on that. I'm assuming just making the minimum payments every single month.
Parents, yeah, it's at a 4% interest rate.
4.3, so it's not too high, which is good. The credit cards, beautiful credit cards at 29% interest. You have $6,663. What in the world are putting these credit cards?
So it's weird. Before I moved here, I didn't have any credit card debt. It was only after I got here. And the only reason why it happened was I know I just got here. So I moved from New Jersey to Pennsylvania in July. And what happened was it was between like a Monday and a Saturday. It's how fast I one found my apartment, two signed the lease, and then then moved in. So I moved in. I signed my lease on a Friday and moved in on a Saturday. And it was just like I told them my work started on Monday, so I had to be there as soon as possible. So I told them. So they told me that usually they have to get a check and then wait a few days for the check to clear. But I was just like, I can't do that. I have to move in right now. So what they did was they asked me to send it through Venmo. So I tried to send it through my bank, my normal checking account, but it wasn't going through. It kept saying that like, oh, is this fraudulent? Why are you trying to send so much money? It's fraudulent. So what I did was just use my credit card, and it went on my credit card. I don't know why I wasn't really thinking about it that month. I was just being really stupid. I was just like, okay, I'll just pay for the on the credit card, pay it off soon, pay the movers for moving my stuff from New Jersey to Pennsylvania, which isn't that far. But I had everyone to help me move, so those two things together was caused it to go up to that high.
So $6,000 later, moving states. Okay. Wow. Are you paying anything on those credit cards right now?
Yes, I am. I have 4 credit cards. 3 of them are paid off, and then I'm starting to each month I'm trying to pay off. I'm trying to confuse between whether I should pay extra or I want to pay extra to the 6,000 balance so it can just die down before interest-free period is over. But my main conundrum is just that job I have right now is a contracting job. Once the contract ends, I'm not too sure if it will be renewed, and it ends in July. So I was kind of thinking, do I save as much money as possible and just save it in a savings account? So if like you lose a job, I'll have a emergency fund, or do I just attack this debt, get it out of the way? It'll probably be done by like April, or I'm not too sure. That's where I was confused.
So okay, so we'll talk about that here in a second, but that's good to note on the credit cards. We'll go through the assets real quick then. So retirement accounts, is that all 401k Roth IRA, or what is this breakdown there?
Yes, it's about 22,000 401k, then 11,000 in Roth IRA.
Okay, and then non-retirement investments, what are those in?
So that is this random index funds, a little bit of crypto, but I really want to start crypto as soon as possible because I don't like crypto. I don't think it's a good investment. My problem is last time I sold crypto, my taxes got super complicated. So I'm just trying to wait to January 1st. So I have to worry about the next.
The car you said $4,200, and then you also mentioned to me that you had a hit and run happen to you with cars. You're trying to figure out what to do with your car right now. So give me a little background on that.
Yeah, so about 3 weeks ago, I was walking home from work and I see my car is just destroyed. I'm like, what happened to it? I'm like so upset. Like, what's going on? And someone is it's like parked close to a Domino's, and the Domino's manager comes out and says, "Hey, so someone like hit your car like yesterday, and they just drove off. Like they messed up their car, but they just completely took off. And yeah, there's nothing we could have done. But we did take a picture of the license plate. So I'm like, oh well, that's good. So you have the license plate number, so I should be able to pay for my damages. The problem was that the license plate number in the picture was blurry because the car was in motion, so it's hard to see the license plate. So when I called the police and I called my insurance and told them everything, I sent them the pictures of the damages in the license plate number. They weren't able to they weren't really able to figure out what the license plate was saying, so they couldn't find the person. So yeah, so I don't, and also I didn't have full coverage on my car, which was my biggest mistake. I should have definitely had full coverage insurance because they didn't cover collision. So I want to get an estimate on how much it would cost to get the damages fixed, and they said anywhere between $4,000 to $6,000.
And it's a $4,000 car.
And I was just like, that's not happening because I paid $5,000 for this car. There's no way I'm spending $6,000 to fix it. So
Is it drivable?
No, I'm too scared to drive it. I don't know. My uncle looked at it. He said that it looks like one of the axles is broken on the wheels, so it might not be. You shouldn't. It's not safe to drive. So my only things I can really do is either sell it for parts, like a few $100s from that, or fix it, or donate it, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, ooh, that's tough. Couple lessons there. Need to make sure you have full coverage insurance and protect yourself there. Two, yeah, see what you can sell it for. See it if you get a couple other options on fixing it from different repair shops. But yeah, I mean, spending 6 grand to fix a $4,000 car does not make sense. It sounds like thankfully you can walk to work, but it might be okay the next month or two, 3 months. We got to save up another $5,000 to go buy another $5,000 car to be able to do that. So wow, yeah.
For any person who believes you have to get a $20,000 car because it needs to be able to drive, I'll let you know that you can find $5,000 cars even in this market. You can find $5,000 cars that still run. It's a Honda, so you can still find it. It's still do it. It's still doable.
Okay. Well, thank you for the background on the debts and assets then. So let's talk about the monthly budget you sent over then. So you moved from New Jersey to Philadelphia, and right now your gross income is about $4,600, you said, which is about 55,000. I thought you're about 60,000 a year in gross income.
Yeah. So because it's bi-weekly, so it's 13 pay periods.
Okay, okay. And then net income about 3,500 a month. So you're being paid a contract. Are you putting aside taxes yourself?
No, I'm a W-2 contractor, but so I get taxes taken out, but I don't have benefits.
Okay, okay. So we've got rent $1,200, utilities 160, health insurance 322, renter's insurance 200, doctor 150. Is that for your medical bills or is that something else?
That's to see my psychiatrist.
We've got auto and transport 119 for car insurance that needs to go up because when you get a new car, because they're not fully covered there. Gas 70. So I guess right now I'm not paying for gas much. Not going anywhere. Groceries 275. Total necessities 2,316. We've got subscriptions 30, entertainment 70, gifts 40, health and fitness 135. You said every quarter. Personal care 50, shopping 80, other transportation 60, household items 80. So total fund money about 665. Total living expenses $2,900 with total debt payments you have, I guess, on the medical and the student loans is 360, and it doesn't include any credit cards. So basically, if you stick to this exact budget, you got a couple $100 left over each month, which doesn't give you much.
Yeah, and also, like, for, like, the eating out and dining out, stuff like that, I don't eat out that much. I actually like cooking, so I try not to eat out that much. It's more like if I go on a date, maybe, but, I try to keep stuff like my wants as low as possible because I think right now is just a period where I gotta attack this debt and just figure out why get myself together.
Okay, so that kind of puts you in a tough spot for debt payoff when you got $280 left over each month, and that doesn't include any credit cards. When is your credit card 0% interest period end?
February.
February. Okay, so you got a few months for that, which
Not that much.
you got 2.5 months basically. So okay, clock is ticking. So what areas when we dive into these statements, what areas do you think you're overspending on?
I think miscellaneous, a lot of miscellaneous, or like if it is eating out, it's probably more because like either someone was visiting me or I was just way too lazy that day or something like that. But it's probably miscellaneous things because I know like last month was kind of like it was more normal. It was kind of I got paid a little bit more. Last month was October. I got paid a little more because that was one of those months where the split paychecks is a two. So I think I might have spent a little bit too much on like fun stuff, but yeah.
Okay, do you budget? Do you track your expenses?
Yes, I use every dollar.
Every dollar. Okay. I use Copilot. I love Copilot. So let's dive these statements in. So we got, you said however many different credit cards, 4 credit cards. This one has an ending balance of $20. I guess you started the balance with 1,100, paid $1,100, spent $10. You did get charged $20 of interest during this time period.
I was very upset about that. I was just like, I called them. I was just like, I paid off the balance. Why did they charge interest? And they're just like, well, I don't know. They get some random leads down. It's like fine. I won't use this card anymore.
So you paid $200 in interest this year for that card. This other card, $15 in payments, spent $50 on SodaStream and Amazon Prime. So you also paid $218 on interest this card this year.
I said, I canceled SodaStream. I don't need that anymore. It's just water. It's just
Good. This one had a zero balance and it's got a $195 balance to in the period. These transactions were PlayStation for $108, PlayStation for $87, and Google One for $2. So we're out here spending all the extra $280 you have each month on SodaStream and PlayStation right now.
I should not have bought that. This is a video game that I really was looking forward to for a while, and it's not worth it. I don't need to play video games, but now
Okay, so this last card is on the $6,590 balance to end the statement period. You only spent $15 in transactions during this time on Ubers. And in this card, you've paid $137 in fees. I'm assuming that was a balance transfer. So, first thought on credit cards. You are not a credit card person because we have $400 in interest. We have a $6,500 balance. And if you want to get out of this debt, one, you don't need 4 credit cards. You don't need 4 credit cards. I would say, and I frankly, people will say, I don't want to cancel credit cards or hurt my credit score. I frankly could care less about your credit score unless your credit score is like a 400. Your credit score is in the 700s, 600s, whatever, and you cancel them, whatever. It doesn't matter. You're not buying a house anytime soon. You're not going to finance a car. I could care less about your credit score. And credit cards, all they do is just give you the ability to swipe them like they have here to go buy PlayStation video games, whatever. And I would just say, until you're out of debt, until you're sticking to a budget every single month, stop using credit cards, use a debit card. You'll be a lot more mindful of it, but that's the first thing that definitely needs to go.
yeah, I agree with that.
When are you going to start doing credit cards then?
I think need immediately.
Immediately. That's a good answer.
I took them all off my Google Wallet. I took them all out of my actual physical wallet. I didn't put them in the freezer yet. I should probably put them in the freezer in the bottom place. Like you always say.
Put them in the freezer or cut them up and close them.
Yeah, I mean, my credit score is already pretty high. It's like 750. I think I can't keep you fine without having credit cards.
I definitely think you can. Okay, so then on the bank statements, student loans, your Robinhood, your Dogecoin, you got your $400 worth of Dogecoin right now, but hey, Dogecoin's up right now, isn't it?
I think right now it's at like 1,200.
Okay. Dogecoin is the stupidest thing in the world.
It is. It has no purpose. It can't do anything. I remember watched a video back in like 2021 or 2022. Some guy was just like, he's going to the store and say, "Hey, can I pay this paper?" There's like Dogecoin. They're just like, "Please leave." I know the fees y'all care about.
And your statements for your bank. So you had $5,000 in here to end October. It's still $5,000 in there. Or you said $3,000 on the sheet.
I have 3,000 in my savings right now, and then I have about 1,700 in checking.
Okay, so close to $5,000. Okay, so that does increase your net worth then. So your net worth is about $16,841.
Yeah.
So that puts you in a better spot, more cash. So during this time period, let's see, we see Spotify, we see some credit card payments, CVS, student loans, Aldi, bus lines, CVS. We got pizza for $11, Domino's for $23. Paying Domino's $23, I can't help you with the license plate.
Okay, man.
Philly Magic. What is Philly Magic Gardens?
Oh, that was like a little attraction. It was like a museum type thing that I went with my mom and sister when they visited me.
Okay. McDonald's for $7. More Aldi. You Zelled someone, I think it looks like a relative for $200.
Yes, that was my dad's birthday was October, so I just gave him some money just to help him out.
Okay. I would say I'm all for gifts. I'm not a gift person, but I'm like family. I don't want to get family gifts. I want to hang out with them. I don't know if they want to hang out with me, but I want to hang out with them. That's what I like for gifts.
When I was growing up, I was always getting gifts because I was the youngest, so I was always getting gifts. And then when we all became adults in my family, because I'm the youngest of 4, we all started giving each other gifts. And I was just like, well, why can't we give each other gifts? We all have jobs. We can all give each other gifts if we can afford it. So here I need to also definitely think myself, because I think you'll see in there, I got my older brother. His birthday was in October, so I got him like a $20 gift. I'm like, you know what? I'll give you, so you can give me gifts.
Especially in your current situation, let's get out of debt. You need a new car. Gifts can be on the back burner. If people get mad at you because you missed one birthday for gifts, then that's on them.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we have on here. We have, Cinemark. We got Amazon. We got your renter's insurance. We've got your gym on here. Comcast. Lyft. We're spending $70 more Domino's. So a lot of these are smaller transactions, but I think it does seem with like Cinemark going to that entertainment place, some different little subscriptions, it looks like. Definitely spend a little bit more money than you think on here. And during this time period, you did have a good bit of money. There's 3 pages full of transactions. And so definitely look at what are some areas you can cut back on, because right now, looking at the situation, I mean, your rent's not terrible at $1,200. I mean, it is 33% of your net income, so it's not terrible. But we do have a lot of other expenses when you have health insurance, when you have your doctor, when you have your health and fitness, your gym. Like there are ones, there's the things you can't change, but so that means you got to cut back on some of the other things that are not necessities. Because right now, with $280 in your budget left over, basically it comes down to you have to cut expenses or you have to increase your income. And I think my suggestions for you right now would be a few things. One, you need to be kind of your credit cards or stop using them. That'll help you be more mindful about your spending. Two, you need a car at some point. I don't know if that's tomorrow because it sounds like you can walk to work, but you need a car at some point. So you got to figure out that situation. I don't want you to go get a car loan. I would say you need to save up money, save cash for a car. That might take you a few months to do that. Probably need to find a job on weekends that you can walk to and you can do to pick up some extra hours, because going from 100,000 down to 60,000 and trying to pay off this debt, it's gonna be hard to pay off this debt making $60,000 a year. And with all these minimum payments, I mean, the credit cards haven't even resumed, and your personal loan you haven't been paying on. So to be able to make any sort of dent, you're going to have to pick up additional work jobs that you can find and continue to hustle to find a new job. You said, hey, I'm worried about saving up money when my contract ends next summer. Well, that's 6 months away. So I wouldn't depend on, hey, I need to save money for that. I would say, hey, over these next 6 months, you need to have options. You need to have a second part-time job that can help pay down all these debts before then. And two, be hustling to find a new job before then. If you're not secure about that job next summer, then don't wait till next summer to find out. Let's start hustling and applying to jobs. It might be tough for the next 6 weeks with the holidays, but come January, start freaking getting after it and applying to 30, 40, 50 jobs a week and finding something that'll pay you 65, 70, $80,000 a year or back up to 100. But I would not sit here and say, hey, let's save up money for an emergency fund because I might get laid off in July or April or whatever your contract's up. It needs to be, hey, I'm going to be proactive and I'm going to find a second part-time job to start paying off this debt. And then I'm going to be hustling to find another full-time job so I don't have to even worry about that situation come April. Or at least I have options and say, hey, company, I got this full-time job. Can you match it? Or are you going to extend me a full-time job, or should I go here? But please do not wait around and hope and pray that you might get extended. Start taking action today on doing that.
Yeah, I've always started like I'm trying to apply 10 jobs a day. That's my idea. Like throw my resume, get my name out there. I have a job fair that I'm going to go to on Monday. Yeah, I'm just not. I'm not. I don't like the idea of use the word proactive. That's one of my favorite words. I don't like the idea of sitting down waiting for the world to help you out. You gotta. No one's gonna save you. You gotta go save yourself.
Awesome. Love that attitude. I have a couple questions. How many hours or how long is it taking you to apply to 10 jobs a day right now?
So I do it after work, maybe like 2.5 hours, maybe.
10 hours. Okay. And on that, are you just applying them places like Indeed or LinkedIn, or how are you finding these jobs?
So I will find the jobs on Dice and LinkedIn, and then what I would do is not apply. I don't do easy apply. I think it's really bad. So what I do is I go to the company's website, look up the company's description, and actually apply on the company website because I've heard from many people that if you just easy apply, they can get like 100,000 easy applies and then not know what to do with that. So if you actually go to the actual company's website, and after you apply, you like it's like send a message to the recruiter saying, "Hey, I applied to this job. Here's the reasons why I'm qualified. I'd love to hear back from you." And then sometimes it might work out.
Awesome. No, I think that's smart. I want to make sure the easy apply button is not the way to go. One tip I would suggest, and one of my wife's friends did this, and she did great, is like going the extra mile with recruiters or other people at the companies, and like being able to try to get on a phone call with them or just connect with them on LinkedIn, shoot them messages. That's how she found her new job. And then I saw another tidbit that I thought was awesome, and that was someone that was sending Loom videos to the recruiters or the hiring people at the company. And instead of just sending that inbox message on LinkedIn, whatever it is, or email, just do a Loom video real quick. That's just a 60-second recording. It's basically like a voice video cover letter. And you're saying the same exact thing, but in a video format and cater to that exact company. And that I think shows that you can go the extra mile and will kind of help set you apart, because in today's day and age with Easy Apply, with all the automated software they use on the HR side too, is you have to figure out a way to set it yourself apart and go above and beyond. And I think just a quick 60-second intro cover letter video is going to really help you do that. So quick thought to do, and it's free and easy to do that with Loom. But yeah, I think right now, I mean, your current situation, it's hard because like you're not even making payments on your credit cards, the personal loan, but you need to start saving money for a car if you need a car for the foreseeable future.
I don't think the only times I was really driving was when I visited family in like New York and New Jersey. So I can always say like,
Can you take the train or buses to there?
yeah, I can take the train or the bus to New Jersey or to New York. Is it convenient? Of course, it's not driving, but it's cheaper than paying all the Okay, a car payment.
Okay. Well, if you can go 6 months or 12 months without a car, hey, maybe try that lifestyle. Try that. It'll cut car insurance, will cut gas, and that'll give you extra money toward to throw to those things. And then, okay, instead of saving up for a car, let's start throwing money at these debts. I mean, right now, the other medical debt, are you paying the 250 a month on it right now?
Yeah, I am. That was what happened was, like, I woke up one morning and I was just, like, coughing a lot, and I ended up just, like, coughing up some blood, and I was just like, "What?" So my sister was just like, "Oh, you should go to, the hospital." And I guess, like, I didn't even think about going to, like, urgent care. Urgent care would've been, like, $50, but I suddenly decided to go to the hospital. I was there for, like, 20 minutes. They were just like, "Oh, you're fine. You probably just had too much, like, sodium the night before." And I was just like, "Oh, yeah, I probably had too many chips the night before." So to me, that's I was just since then, it's never happened again, but they charged me, like, $1,500 for 20 minutes, so I've been paying it down.
Okay, so if I was you, I like the debt snowball method, no matter the interest rate. And I think right now, if that's 250 a month, if you just wipe that off, I mean, you got 5 grand in your checking account, wipe that off the face of the planet, gives you 250 a month back, and then you can start attacking the credit cards next, and then the personal loan. That's the order I would go. I know the credit cards still have, you said like 60 or 70 days left on it until there's zero interest, but I mean that interest is going to rack up quickly when you have a $6,000 balance come February. So I would start attacking the credit card as quickly as possible. And then once that's due the personal loan, then the student loans after that. I mean, you can decide whether you want to invest with 4% interest rate student loans or pay those down. I'm a proponent of paying them off just to be done with them, but some people like to do the arbitrage game. And as long as you're doing one or the other, I don't really care. But some people say, hey, I'm going to invest the difference, and they go spend it at the mall. And that doesn't do anyone any good. So,
Yeah, I think I'm definitely in the more camp of get rid of debt. So when people ask you what your net worth is, when someone asks you what's your assets or the net worth, it's the same number.
exactly. I 100% agree with that. So I think that's kind of what you need to do. I do think having some sort of emergency fund is good, whether you want to do a month, 2 months. Dave Ramsey says $1,000. I think that's kind of low. I think it does kind of light a fire in your butt, but I like at least 1 month of expenses. So in your case, it'd be $33,000 basically. But some people have different tolerances and decisions. Whether all it matters is if you have an emergency fund, you don't touch it. It is truly for an emergency. And if you don't have a car, it's not going to be repair a car. It's going to be only personal reasons really that that money would be spent. So I would suggest somewhere around that one month range. And besides that, have to start getting after it, finding a part time job on weekends to be able to make some more progress. That snowball method, and then just continue to hustle finding a new job so that you don't put yourself in a pickle next year when your contract comes up. So, well, Andrew, what questions you have for me?
So when it comes to like investing, do you suggest the Roth IRA or the 401k? Once was my first full time job, my idea was just do the 401k because it's a company match. The reason why the Roth IRA is where it's at now was because when I left my last job, I rolled over the money into two different accounts because at first I was doing a normal 401k, traditional 401k, and then I started doing a Roth 401k in my job because they offered it. So then I decided to do that. Yeah, what do you think?
Company match first and foremost, no matter what it is. If it's 3%, 5%, 7%, 2%, whatever it is, get the company match no matter what. And then from there, Roth IRA, and then go back to 401k is how I like to do it. You want to make sure you get the match first, and then I think max the Roth IRA, and then go back into the 401k. I am a proponent. I listened to a video, Money with Katie. She convinced me about this, was maxing out the 401k in a traditional sense, and then using that tax savings to then fund your Roth IRA, basically. So basically, if you invest $3,000 in your 401k, if you're a 30% effective tax rate, okay, then it's about $7,000 in tax savings. Doing that, go then put that in your Roth IRA, and then you have a maxed out 401k in the traditional sense, and you have a maxed out Roth IRA for the year. Versus, I mean, you could just do the full Roth 401k. Some people suggest you do too, but then that gives you, I mean, less investable dollars. You've already paid tax on it. But I like the approach of, hey, let's diversify some in tax or some in taxable accounts, which like the traditional 401k, and then some in the non-taxable accounts, the Roth IRA, since they've already been taxed out there. So in the pre-tax, post-tax. So that's how I like doing it, is trying to max out. I mean, it obviously depends on the situation, but if you max out your 401k, max out the 401k, and then put the tax savings in the Roth IRA. If you can't max one or both out, then take the match in the 401k and then go after maxing out the Roth IRA next. So
Another question I had was, once I'm out of debt, how do you I always seen like people talk about the 30-30-20, but it never made sense to me. I always felt like 30% is too much for wants, and then 50% is too much for needs, and then 20% doesn't seem like enough for savings. What do you usually do?
I have so many thoughts on this. I think the 50-30-20 is a good baseline standard. I think that if you want to be above average, the 50-30-20 can get you there. I don't want to be just above average. So I'm like, it wasn't for my wife. I probably want to save everything in the world and I would just live in a little box and not do anything because I just like to save money. But I think I'm too far on the side of trying to save too much money versus, hey, you need to enjoy some life now. So I think it really comes down to personal situation, what you want your goals to be. But I'm a proponent of trying to save 30 to 35% plus of your net income and then the rest of it going towards spending. I like for housing with whether it's your rent payment or your mortgage payment to be around 25 to 30% of your net income. I like more flexibility in spending things on other things like travel or food. Those are the two biggest categories my wife and I spend on is travel and food. And so I'm a proponent of keeping housing as low as possible. And I like 30, 35% plus in saving your net income. Another Money with Katie reference, she had an article or a podcast about basically how each 5% basically can shave off however many years of reaching early retirement or like financial freedom. And I think her sweet spot mathematically where the extra 5% is not really worth it is like, I think it was 30 or 35% too. So basically like if you went from like 35 to 40%, it might speed up your early retirement by 1 year, but every 5% before that was like 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. So it kind of slows down to that at that threshold. So I think somewhere in that ballpark, 30 to 40% is a good area range to be in. That puts you well far above the average American. And I think that helps you get to financial freedom a lot faster. So
When it comes to saving for a house, because I always feel like saving for a house is like kind of so daunting because it feels like it'd be such a hard task. How do you save for a house while also investing in retirement?
it comes down to what your goals are. I think right now with where housing's at and interest rates, I have this debate with people. I think it's stupid to buy houses in today's market. If you're paying, I mean, for example, a house in my neighborhood, if you're paying for a mortgage, you're probably paying like 5 grand a month to rent your probably like the 3,500 to $4,000 range. So you're paying a grand and a half more to buy than to rent. And when I moved in here, I moved in 3 years ago. So interest rates were in the threes and housing prices were a lot lower. So it's just a drastically different period. And so I think it's a majority of American cities, houses are less expensive to rent than to buy. It really comes down to personal preference. I mean, I think buying when you have a family, if you don't want to have to move every couple of years or you want to have roots and whatever, then okay, maybe there's some things that make sense. I still want the number to be like between 25 and 30% of your take home pay. When it comes to saving for the down payment, it really just comes on to your personal preference. When do you want to buy a house? How much you want to do it? I am a proponent of still at least getting the match when you're saving for a down payment because it's free money. And then if you can still do the Roth, do that. Maybe it's getting the match and doing the Roth and everything after that is saving for a house. But it comes down to personal preference. If you're single and you're trying to move into a place by yourself, I think it'd be very hard for you to buy a house. Your mortgage payment is probably going to be $2,500 or $3,000. And I was having the same conversation with one of my friends recently. Is he was like, people were trying to convince me to buy a house, and I just don't want to do it. And I'm like, well, what's your rent right now? He's like, oh, I'm paying like $800 a month. And I'm like, he does have roommates. And I'm like, okay, so if you go and buy a $600,000 house, you're gonna have a $5,000 a month mortgage payment. So I think you're better off renting an apartment, nice apartment for $2,000 and then investing that $3,000 in index funds. I think you'll come off financially better. You have less upkeep, you have less surprise expenses. So that's my just personal take where interest rates are and housing prices are. I think something might change in the future. Or the other route is buying maybe the first place you buy is more of like an investment property where if you want to be a landlord and you buy a duplex or a triplex or a quadruplex that has other units you can rent out. That's all sides on, hey, do you want to be a landlord or not? But I think that's a route that, especially when you're in big cities, is that a route that's you're able to do where you kind of house hack it and get your living expenses down. You do have to make sure that it financially makes sense to do, but that is a way to kind of reduce expenses. But it's also very sought after properties. People want to buy those for investments as well when they're multifamily. So I think it's coming down to personal preference. I would make sure you can at least see the match and doing some in your Roth and not all of it, and then saving for a house after that. But it comes down to kind of your personal preference and timeline with a house. But I wouldn't be in a rush to buy a house in this current situation. That's just what I think. So,
I don't think I'm gonna buy a house, but a good amount of years from now.
especially if you're living by yourself. I don't know if you have any pets or anything, but it's like with even that, it's like, okay, you have a dog. Do you need to buy a giant house to have a dog? I can't speak because my wife and I, we don't have any kids. We just have two dogs, but we lived in an apartment with one dog for a while on the sixth floor. And I mean, it was fine, but it comes down to personal preference and financial situations. Don't go overextend. I mean, I heard someone else saying the other day, like they got approved for a mortgage that was more expensive than their net income. So their monthly payment on the mortgage would have been more than they're actually bringing on every single month. It's like,
That's an easy way for bankruptcy.
exactly, exactly. Don't rush into it. It's the biggest purchase of your life. And as Ramit Sethi says, run the numbers on houses before you make the biggest financial decision of your life. So
This last question: what do you think is going to happen with the interest rates now that inflation is starting to cool down and the federal has been cutting on the rates each month? I feel it's going to do. I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm interested to see where it goes. I guess.
I think they'll go down a little bit. I don't think we'll see 3%, 2% mortgage rates. I think stuff will settle like mortgage rate wise. I think they'll settle. I mean, they're around like 7% right now. I think they'll settle in the fives if I had to guess. I'm not a betting man, but that'd be my bet if I was. It'd be fives to low sixes maybe. But I don't think they'll let it rip all that low. The only time they'll let that happen is if we hit a massive recession. Then they might do that to try to, if unemployment skyrocket, then that could happen. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. So I don't know.
Okay.
Any other questions from you that I can answer?
Well, that was it.
Awesome. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on here today. I want to hear from you. And I'll follow up in a few weeks and see what is one actionable step you're going to take this week to start moving towards your financial goals.
Definitely pay off the medical debt. Like as soon as we're done talking, I just wanna. I'm happy you said that. So I've been itching to do it, but I don't always sure yet. So yeah, pay off the medical debt. I can continue applying for jobs, continue doing interviews, trying to increase the income, and then just knocking on every door of a. If the Domino's people were nice enough to take a picture, they may be nice enough to give me a job. So maybe knocking on doors and see where I can get a part-time job.
I got a follow-up from Andrew I wanted to share. My key takeaways were that I need to increase my income and continue interviewing for higher paying gigs on top of my main income, while also making sure I have a game plan for when my contract ends in July. I did sell my car and received a few $100s for it. I paid off the medical debt immediately after the call. For the next 30 to 90 days, I want to have a secured weekend job and continue to attack my high interest credit card debt. And then he sent me another email about a week later and said, I was able to get a part-time side job about 20 hours a week, but I'll try to do more if I can. The pay varies, but I hope to make an extra $700 to $800 a month. So excited to hear that Andrew is making progress, got the medical debt paid off, the car sold, and is making progress on everything.